They did show me some stuff, text messages, emails, and some other paperwork that I said, okay, now I'm going to have to go back and talk to Jonathan and Susie, and I'm going to do that this morning to hear their side. But what I will not do, I'm not going to keep going back and forth, back and forth. I saw what they showed me. I heard both sides of the story. I felt some things in the spirit when I was talking to Jonathan and Susie. I definitely felt some things, when I went to Daystar. And I'm going to post this interview today. I'm going to let everybody chop it up, dissect it, criticize, say, hey, I'm going to post the interview because that's the fair thing, the right thing. People can feel whatever they want to feel about it. And then I'm going to make a third and final video where I share, what they showed me, there's some stuff they showed me and it was like, I have to go talk to Jonathan and Susie. And then I'm going to get Jonathan and Susie's response to, the things that they showed me. And I already started talking to them about it. And I'm going to make the final video and I'm going to wash my hands of it.
Hello, anointed ones. Welcome back to Anointed TV, where we are keeping tabs on every development in the saga involving Joni Lamb and her children Jonathan and Susie Lamb. The intro clip is that of YouTuber Marcus Rogers sharing brief details from the interview he had with Joni Lamb, which he will be sharing. We have witnessed both sides coming out to share their version of the story on different platforms on YouTube. It started with Jonathan and Susie Lamb's interview with Julie Roys of the Roys Report, who first broke the story. Several other media sites have picked up the story as we try to uncover the truth in this whole matter. Jonathan and Susie Lamb are accusing one of their family members, whom they are calling Pete, of essaying their daughter, and allegedly their parents Marcus and Joni Lamb of covering it. There is also the issue of Joni Lamb's marriage to Doug Weiss, which they claim their mother forced them to endorse publicly, but according to their convictions, it is unbiblical. So far, Jonathan and Susie Lamb have released videos on their YouTube channel and have had interviews with Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson and Marcus Rogers on YouTube channels telling their story. On the other hand, Joni Lamb has posted 2 videos on the Daystar TV YouTube channel telling her side of the story. In our latest update, Marcus Rogers, who hosted Jonathan and Susie Lamb, also reached out to Joni Lamb to tell her side of the story. Rachel Lamb, who has been defending her mother and Pete, posted about the interview and said it would be aired today. Here is the post from Marcus Rogers on his Instagram page, explaining the motivation behind his interview with Joni. It has been a crazy 2 weeks. My phone was being blown up by everyone you can think of. Everybody had an opinion, a critique, and so much more. One of the problems in Christianity is that you can get hundreds of people who love Jesus but are all saying completely different things. So I reached out to all of my close pastors and elders for counsel because that is what I always do in circumstances like this. And even though they all didn't agree on everything, and in some cases were saying the completely opposite things, the one thing they all did advise me was, it is honorable, fair, and the right thing to do to allow Joni to tell her side of the story. The Bible says there is safety in a multitude of counselors, and so I submit myself to that. I know some will hate this, but my integrity is important to me, so I will always do what's right no matter what. So Joni reached out to me, and at first I said I didn't want to meet, but after seeking that wise counsel and looking at the Bible, I realized it's the right and fair thing to do. I told her I didn't want her to pay for a flight, a room, or anything at all. I didn't even want her to buy me lunch because I didn't want anyone to say she wined and dined me or paid me off. I simply wanted to let her share her side of the story and judge with righteous judgment. My main concern was the abuse. Everything else, even though we discussed it in the interview, is between them and God. No one will escape the eyes or judgment of God. He sees everything. We can argue about all of these things, but God will judge. Tomorrow, I will air this exclusive interview, and I will let people chop it up and analyze it for themselves. Then, after a few days, I will share what I saw with the world and wash my hands of it. God knows all. God sees all. God will judge all. He concluded the post by quoting the following Bible verses. Proverbs 18:13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Proverbs 18:17. Any story sounds true until someone tells the other side and sets the record straight. Proverbs 18:17. The first speech in a court case is always convincing until the cross-examination starts. This has elicited a lot of reactions on social media, with some appreciating him for allowing Joni Lamb to share her version of the story, but others are criticizing him for the same. Here are some of the reactions. Blaze Foray on Twitter said, "Looks like Marcus Rogers interviewed Joni Lamb, but I am hearing whispers that he was unaware of a few key things prior to the interview." 1. The context of the email from Jonathan to Joni. The email that Joni insinuated was blackmail. But we already knew the context. I believe Joni told him about this email prior to the interview, or during the interview, and he was shocked and saw it as Jonathan possibly blackmailing for position, or he would release the audio. Why had he not seen this before? Did he even read the articles prior? Did he not see the entire email and its full context? Did he not ask Jonathan about this email when they sat together last week? 2. The screenshots of text messages of Susie praising Joni, etc. Rachel Lamb shared all that last week, and Susie had already responded. However, I suspect that Marcus had not seen that stuff prior to showing up at Daystar this week, and again, I was shocked. He also seemed to not understand that Joni and Marcus Lamb had led JNS to believe Pete was cleared by the investigator. So that's why Susie continued to go on family vacations. She had been lied to, and the truth didn't come out until 2023. Did Rogers not know this? 3. Marcus also seems to have learned from Joni about the school situation. Joni came with Susie to school to initially investigate the claims of abuse. But Laura Lynn Thompson has already brought out during her interview the fact that Susie and Jonathan's daughter told Susie that the man who did this was taller than Daddy. Did Marcus Rogers press Joni on this issue? I hope so. 4. Lastly, I'm not sure that he brought up the fact that Denise Boggs has testified that Pete was never cleared by the forensic investigator. He begged Denise to clear him, but she told him to go back to the investigator to get the proper innocent clearance. Pete wouldn't do it. Why? Did Marcus press Joni on this? I am hearing that Marcus may not have brought that up, but I can't be sure. Marcus Rogers had 900,000 followers on his YouTube channel. I understand giving everyone a platform, but I'll be straightforward here. Joni Lamb is a nationally known name who kicked her kids off the channel and is now asking for a voice in front of Marcus's audience. She already had an audience and a global TV channel. That's fine. Marcus can do what he wants. All is fair in WAR. But if he doesn't see through these points in the posted interview tomorrow and he doesn't press her on these issues, then he did a disservice to this family and the child who had been abused. I like Marcus. I appreciate his zeal, his sincerity, and much of his content. But I'm calling it like it is. I think he might have gotten played. But we'll see. Susie Lamb posted on X, "Got news about endless lies coming from Joni tomorrow. We will address it all with Julie Roy's and then on Blaze Foray and Christina Foray's podcast. Apparently, they are using old texts of me being kind to them and twisting everything they can. My child's eczema was a direct symptom of the stress and fully related. I didn't know all this while in real time, and I never gave them full info on my child, kept it general. But it's all a distraction from the simple truth they want to hide. Pete followed our daughter up the stairs. My son was not on the stairs and did not invite Pete upstairs. There was no city view. It was a plain road. We believed an investigation was done, and Pete was cleared. We found out about the cover-up 2 years later. In those 2 years, we were kind and did not treat them badly. I'm thankful the truth about the cover-up is out in the light. God will bring justice. I pray people see through the manipulation and lies." From Candy Chand on X said, "Sadly, Marcus has been fooled by a snake. If he'd read the documents or even the articles, he'd know Joni told him nothing new. It's all been said before. Joni is using his platform to deceive the public, because, after all, that's what snakes do. In addition, Joni and Mrs. Pete should brace for impact. More mainstream media is incoming." Roxy Crowley posted on X and said, "I think it's great Marcus talked to Joni. I'm sure we will get to hear Joni Jot Rachel's sales pitch, borrowed from a post I saw on FB that summarizes it perfectly. 1. We all already know that Joni went with Susie to school. 2. We already knew there was a baby in Pete's hand. 3. We already know the context of the email that was sent to Joni from Jonathan. It wasn't blackmail. 4. We already knew the screenshots of Susie's text messages that Rachel Lamb showed us all on her Instagram posts as a gotcha. From looking at Julie Roy's evidence, we don't know if Pete is guilty, but we know he needs to be investigated. Why did Joni shut it down? We know Joni intimidates, places trackers. We know Joni expensed her $100,000 honeymoon. We know Doug lies to clients. We know Joni and Jimmy are bullies, lest we not forget the recording. We know Trinity Foundation estimated Joni used the Daystar jet for vacations to Colorado and Florida to the tune of $1 million. These are different reactions to that interview even before it is released. We cannot say much until we listen to the interview and see if Marcus is objective and whether there is new information that Joni has shared. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you will be notified when I post the next video summarizing for you the interview. Do you have any expectations for the interview? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you.